Welcome back to Astrovision 3D. Today, we're diving into another Star Wars build. This time, it's an epic Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul diorama designed by CA3D Studios. They're one of my favorite creators. You might remember their Darth Vader and Gladiator Hulk statues from my earlier builds. The duel on Mandalore was one of the most intense moments in the Clone Wars, and today, we're bringing it to life in 3D with this epic Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul diorama. Let's hope we can capture the intensity of their duel in the painting and construction of this diorama. Here are all the freshly printed pieces straight off the Elegoo Saturn for Ultra. I forgot to film the printing process this time, but trust me, the results speak for themselves. Before starting the fun parts, let's make sure each piece is prepped for assembly. Sanding the edges and cleaning up any leftover support material ensures a seamless fit. Taking the time here will pay off with a smoother, sturdier final product. Now, it's a lot of work putting these videos together, so if you're enjoying the content, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button, drop a comment, and show some love. Your support means a lot and helps me keep these videos coming. Starting with the base, we're going to carefully align and glue the pieces. Precision is key here. A strong foundation makes for a strong statue, and we want this diorama to feel as intense as the battle it's recreating. Piece by piece, the project is starting to come together. It's incredible to see how these characters take shape, especially knowing they started as a digital file and a bottle of resin. Once the pieces are glued and fully test assembled, I go back in with resin and fillers to close and hide the seams. This step ensures a seamless look, making the final statue feel like a single, cohesive piece. Now, normally, this is where I'd show you the priming process. But let's be honest, watching paint dry isn't exactly riveting content. So, we're skipping ahead to the fun part, dry brushing the metallic finish onto the base. Trust me, this step is where the magic starts to happen, transforming the plain primer into something that looks straight out of the Star Wars universe. With the metallic parts dry brushed, the base starts to take on a life of its own. To enhance the effect, I use an airbrush to add metallic highlights, focusing on areas that would naturally catch the light. After the metallic part is dry brushed and highlighted with the airbrush, it's time to focus on the molten metal areas, the cuts and melted sections created by the lightsabers of Ahsoka and Maul. I start with a base coat of dark red to give it that deep, intense foundation. Then, I carefully layer in white to create a glowing effect at the center, mimicking the heat of freshly melted metal. I follow up by bringing in bright oranges and yellows, blending them seamlessly to enhance the molten look and add that fiery energy. Each pass with the airbrush builds up the effect, making the cuts look alive and glowing with heat. Finally, I seal it all with a gloss coat. This adds a brilliant shine, making the molten areas look as if they're still cooling from the intense duel. With the base complete, it's time to focus on the characters, starting with Darth Maul. A quick coat of black primer preps the surface, creating a strong foundation for the paint. With the primer dry, the real fun begins. I start with his skin, layering in his iconic red base color. Using thin layers ensures the details in the sculpt remain sharp. Once the red is in place, it's time to carefully paint the black tattoos, following his signature Sith design. This part takes precision and patience, but it's incredibly rewarding to see his fierce look come together. Now, for the black tattoos, I carefully outline each design, taking my time to get the curves and edges just right. The contrast against the red really starts to bring Maul's menacing look to life, and it's satisfying to watch the details come together. This was one of my favorite parts, so you will have to wait a bit longer for the full reveal. Using an airbrush, I paint Darth Maul's robes, arms, and legs simultaneously. Dark, earthy tones are applied evenly across these areas to bring out the intricate textures and folds of the sculpt. The airbrush allows for smooth transitions, giving the fabric a natural, unified look. His vest is left a stark black charcoal grey, providing a sharp contrast to the rest of the outfit. This contrast enhances the overall design, making the sculpt feel more dynamic. Later, I'll come back to refine the vest and other areas with dry brushing. This will add further texture and depth. To complement the robes, I use metallic paints on his legs to emphasize their mechanical design. Carefully applied highlights create a reflective, realistic surface, adding depth and contrast to the overall figure. Once these areas are painted, I let everything dry completely before returning to refine the finer details. With Maul's initial work done, it's time to shift gears and begin the main color blocking for Ahsoka. I start by quickly applying a smooth layer of primer, setting the foundation for her vibrant colors to come. From there, I build up the blue highlights, layering the shades with the airbrush to gradually refine the depth. Each layer brings more definition to the clothing, making Ahsoka's unique design really start to pop. Once the base layer is dry, I transition to a faded ultramarine tone. This color is delicately applied to the raised areas, emphasizing her form and adding a sense of movement to the figure. Seeing the colors blend and bring Ahsoka's dynamic presence to life is truly rewarding. Next, I focus on Ahsoka's skin tone, starting with a lighter shade applied evenly across her arms and face to create a smooth base, while preserving the sculpt's details. I then adjust the tone to better match her look in the Clone Wars, deepening it slightly and adding shadows to enhance depth and contour, bringing out her curves and making the tone more vibrant and lifelike. Test assembling the model ensures precise highlight placement, enhancing her features and capturing her character. Using the airbrush carefully, I apply highlights with precision, avoiding overspray on other parts of the model. Let's take a short break from Ahsoka and focus on the finishing details for Darth Maul. I use a bright silver paint to enhance the textures on his belt and wrist wraps, adding subtle metallic highlights that complement his menacing look. I carefully paint the small squares on his belt silver, adding metallic accents that bring out the finer details. For the copper inlays on his belt and wrist wraps, I use a steady hand to create a polished, cohesive finish, enhancing the overall intricacy of the design. Next, I airbrush his shoulder pads using a mix of metallic paints, carefully layering the colors to achieve a realistic sheen. This ties his armor together, amplifying his dark, intimidating presence. After adding a few final details to his lightsaber, I turn my attention to Darth Maul's horns. Starting with an ivory base coat, I carefully layer the paint to ensure smooth coverage. To add depth, I apply a light brown wash, gradually fading the color from dark at the base to bright at the tips. This subtle gradient enhances the horn's natural look and complements Maul's menacing appearance. With Maul all but complete, the focus shifts back to Ahsoka to bring her vibrant details to life. I start with her iconic Elegoo, masking her face with painter's tape to apply a clean white base coat. This sets the stage for her distinctive markings and vibrant design. Once the base coat dries, I carefully paint the white facial markings that define her character. Each detail is meticulously applied to ensure crisp and symmetrical lines, capturing Ahsoka's bold personality and making her instantly recognizable. Finally, I move on to Ahsoka's iconic blue stripes. With the white base coat set, I carefully paint the blue patterns, blending shades to add depth and texture. Each stripe flows naturally along her Elegoo, capturing a lifelike movement that enhances her animated look. I focus on smooth transitions between the blue and white tones, ensuring a balanced yet striking appearance. Together with her crisp facial markings and subtle highlights, these bold stripes complete Ahsoka's look, bringing her Clone Wars essence to life as the diorama's centerpiece. With Ahsoka's main colors in place, it's time to bring out the intricate metallic details that complete her look. I begin with a base coat on her headpiece, wrist guards, shin guards, and her striking metallic skirt, adorned with its distinctive picture inlays. These elements are crucial in capturing her iconic appearance from the Clone Wars, combining a sense of elegance with her formidable warrior presence. The metallic tones provide a vivid contrast to her vibrant colors, adding depth and realism that emphasize her duality as both a fighter and a symbol of hope. As we near the final stages of this project, I want to thank you for following along on this creative journey. If you've enjoyed the process, please consider liking and subscribing. Your support truly makes it possible to bring more projects like this to life. To complete Ahsoka's look, I delicately paint the fine metallic trim with her shirt using a fine brush. This step enhances the intricate design and adds a touch of elegance, perfectly balancing her warrior strength with her regal presence. Next, I focus on the blue inlays on Ahsoka's wrist guards and armor skirt. Using a vibrant pure ultramarine paint from Pro Acryl, I carefully apply the color to make these details pop. The rich tone brings out the intricate designs, and with a clear coat to seal it, the inlays truly stand out, adding a bold contrast to her overall look. I clean up Ahsoka's wrist wrap to remove any overspray from painting her skin. Blending shades of blue, I refine the details to enhance depth and finish the look seamlessly. Before I forget, I quickly paint the blades of both Ahsoka and Maul. Maybe one day I will learn how to use real lighting for these, but until then. We've reached the final stage of the build, where I always save the eyes for last. I begin by outlining the eyes with black, creating a strong base. Next, I paint the white sclera, ensuring clean and even coverage for a sharp, defined look. When painting their eyes, I do my best to ensure they are aligned to face each other, locking them in an intense duel. As I add the iris color, I blend darker rims into brighter centers, finishing with precise pupils to capture their lifelike, intense gazes. Now for the final assembly. After gluing the pieces together, I'll make any last touch-ups to ensure both characters look perfect. Thank you for watching and supporting this project. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I can't wait to bring you more builds. And now, here are the final results.